Hi Leo, and welcome to your horoscope for January 2024. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to look at where the planets support you in January and where they don't, and how you can focus on the positives to have a much more successful and productive time here in January. The way to watch these horoscopes, please watch them first for your sun sign, then your rising sign, and then your moon sign in that order. On the 1st of January, straight away, we have something really positive happening. We have Mercury, the communication planet. That goes direct, exits its retrograde. So you'll find that communication and transportation becomes much easier. And for you guys, Leo, specifically, if there have been misunderstandings in your personal relationships with people you love, that starts to get a lot easier. On the 5th of January, Mars starts to go into your 6th house of work and it moves out of Sagittarius into Capricorn. So you're going to become very interested in your daily routine, how you can work to make them more exciting, how you can make it work so that you're doing things that you actually enjoy instead of wasting your time on things that you don't enjoy. So you become very decisive, as in, my daily routine matters. If I want to be happy in my everyday experience, then I need to make sure that I'm engaging with things that are actually joyful and that bring me happiness. So that's a great thing for you to let go of anything that doesn't serve you as it relates to your eating habits or the people you hang out with or the job that you're doing or what you're doing every hour of the day. So for instance, if every minute is scheduled into your calendar and you don't want it to be, then you can make changes on all of this. That continues. On the 11th of January, we have a new moon in Capricorn. And that's really the focus here for the first 11 days, that how can I work to make my daily routine more positive? And you're very clear on this concept of what I put in, I get out. So that relates to your physical health, but also I'm laughing because what you really see is I'm putting a lot of energy into this job, for instance, or this relationship, or this way of doing things. Where am I seeing results and where am I not? And if certain things don't make sense anymore, you become really like someone who can hone in on that and say, okay, well, I'm not going to expend this much energy if I'm not getting something in return. So you're very much thinking on this transactional level, 50-50. And like the Justice card in the tarot, if I'm making this effort, then why am I just getting nothing? Or even, I'm doing very little here, why am I getting so much? And maybe instead I should put more energy into this thing to get an even greater outcome. So you're very organized in terms of your energy, your life, and how you can adapt that to expend less energy and get a greater result. So you're very clever about those practical kind of things. On the 14th, Mercury also joins your 6th house. It goes into Capricorn. And we've got a huge focus now on, I want to understand what areas of my life work and which ones don't. Pluto shifts gears. It moves out of Capricorn, where it's been since 2008, and it goes into Aquarius now, and it moves into your 7th house. That's really significant. Pluto is an outer planet, so it moves very slowly. I go into a lot of detail on this in the video I did for the entire year. So if you type in Leo 2024, you'll see that video, and I talk about this because it's the beginning of a whole new era. Pluto pretty much is going to be now in Aquarius until 2044, so the next 21 years. So that's a big significant shift. And for you, it hops out of that 10th house now and goes into your 7th. So you'll start to get amazing new ideas around your relationships in all aspects of your life: colleagues, friends, acquaintances, in-laws, bosses, everybody. The sun also shifts into Aquarius on the 21st of January, and the sun is what you identify with on a conscious level. So that's kind of interesting because you're going to look at this and say, well, I've made all these changes in my personal life in the first 21 days of the month. Now, how can I share that wealth and wisdom with other people? How can I communicate that? I've realized my hopes and dreams. How can I help others with that? So reading between the lines is you're in a really good spot by the 21st of January, and it indicates that you've been very successful in adapting things to make them work more in your favor. Otherwise, you wouldn't really be saying, how can I share the wealth? If there wasn't any wealth, you'd have none to share, right? So really look at the structures of your life, the things that you rely on, and whether they actually serve you in return. And then you have this laser vision that says, this isn't working, so bye-bye. And you may not always have that, because as a Leo, your ruler is the sun, which, yes, is strength and ability and the consciousness, but it's also very warm, right? So for you to make these tough decisions isn't always going to be your forte, whereas here in January, you're crystal clear on what works and what doesn't. Venus also joins your 6th house on the 23rd of January. It exits Sag and it goes into Capricorn. So we've got all the personal planets, Venus, Mercury, Mars, in your 6th house of daily routine. So your person is your routine. So you identify with it so strongly, that's why you're able to adapt and make all of these changes. So for you, Leo, you're going to have a calendar that looks much better by the end of the month than you did going in. You're going to engage with things which are much more useful, and there's no waste. You're a waste removal expert here as it pertains to your personal life. On the 25th, we've got a full moon in your sign in Leo, so that happens in your 1st house of self. So there's going to be a huge sense of celebration and accomplishment. It's like, yes, I've done it. So again, same way I looked at this via, it's likely that you succeeded because you're interested in teaching others and sharing your insights. This celebration moment in your first also means that around the end of the month, you can really relax and kind of pat yourself on the back and celebrate all the good stuff you've done, because you've saved yourself so much time and energy that now it's time to deliberately use that extra time to enjoy yourself. 27th of January, Uranus goes direct, and that goes direct in your 10th house of career and work. So we've had Jupiter up there. Not Jupiter, we've had Uranus up there the whole time, and Jupiter sits next to it. So both of those planets, Uranus, the miraculous, Jupiter, good luck, good fortune, growth, they've both been there in your 10th house of career. So all of these practical changes that you adapt, they do have a positive impact on your career. So if you notice in January that you've really got organized, but your career hasn't improved as a result, then something may have gone awry there. You're meant to have a really good month in terms of your work, but you're not approaching it in the sense of, should I change my job? You're looking at it in the sense of, what can I do to change about how the way I operate? And that can and is very likely to have a positive knock-on effect to your career. So if that makes sense. So career isn't the focus. Your everyday routine and what you're giving is the focus, and that may have a positive influence on your working life routine. And the only thing really to watch out for is if that isn't where you want it to be, then maybe you have less control over it than you realized or you thought. And that then is something, again, you can become aware of and say, do you know what, I spent 8 hours a day here. If this doesn't respond to positive change, then is this still the right fit? So ultimately, the major support is that you hone in on really these concrete details and you're willing to adapt them. Where I don't see a lot of kind of noise or change is in terms of your family situation or your desire to kind of connect spiritually. I think you're very much in action mode and you're much more focused on the physical, practical, earthy stuff than you are on the nebulous or things that seem less useful or where you can affect less change. So you're super practical. I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with here in January. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. And to look at your chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then please order a chart rectification with me. That's a process where I look at your time of birth, or I work it out rather by you sending me 10 or more life events. Then I look at the different times in the chart. I work it out to determine your actual time of birth. And that's really helpful in getting an accurate picture of who you are via an accurate picture of the chart. So if you would like me to look at any of that, please do get in touch via the website. Have a look at some of my other videos, the videos on the weekly horoscopes, the new moons, the full moons, and also that forecast for Leo 2024. If you want more information on Pluto, have a great time in January and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.